And in Myanmar itself, there are reports that those who took to the streets in last week's big rallies are now being made to pay. There have been reports of more roundups by police and the abuse of those who've been taken to prison. The generals say they are listening to the concerns of the outside world, but few inside Myanmar believe they'll see any changes anytime soon. Al Jazeera's special correspondent reports now from Yangon.
This is the notorious insane prison on the outskirts of Yangon. At the outer gates, the atmosphere seems relaxed enough, but inside there are said to be scores of monks and protesters being held, and out of sight they are enduring all kinds of suffering. It's one of a number of centres where thousands of monks and civilians are being held, it is claimed, in appalling conditions, and more arrests are happening every night.
It's very difficult to have a precise number. The authorities aren't putting out any press releases. They did admit to 10 dead, but most people suspect that there's far more than that have been killed. In terms of arrest, I'm sure it's in the thousands by now. These arrests started in late August, and from what we understand, every night after curfew, they start traveling around the city and picking up more people.
The army has largely withdrawn from the streets of Yangon. In their place, armed police snatch squads ready to arrest anyone thought to be implicated in the protests. They are using photographic and video evidence collated during the past week. Some monks, mostly young novices, have been released, but under strict conditions, and they must leave their monasteries within 24 hours and head for the countryside. They have tales of brutality. They are too scared to tell them directly to foreigners. Being associated with a foreigner could cause them to be arrested and punished. But a picture is emerging of how protesters are being beaten in detention and some even killed. On the streets of Yangon, the reaction to General Than Shui's offer of dialogue with Aung San Suu Kyi, but with conditions, has raised few hopes. Most feel it is a ploy to fool the international community into thinking the generals are sincere.
We can only, and that's why I think it's so important for the world community to speak out with a unified voice on the importance of a dialogue to find a broadly, popularly acceptable solution on the way forward. It's the only way.
These are the barbed wire barricades blocking the road to Aung San Suu Kyi's home. She has spent 12 of the last 18 years under house arrest. She even refused to leave the country for her British husband's funeral. The chances of her accepting the general's conditions are almost non-existent. The generals have yet to show any real sincerity, and while Myanmar's main trading partners of China, India and Thailand refuse to exert any real pressure, there is only so much the United Nations can do.